hey, hey, ho. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 oh. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Everyone. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Mother, I hear you in the river song. Turn on what is going on, hey, oh. Mother, I hear you in the river song. Turn on what is going on, hey, oh. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Hey, 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 ho. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Thank you, Lorraine Horsemanhoff.
So this boy came to an elementary school, transferred there, and his first day in class, the teacher asked him to stand so she could find out a little bit about him, but so could the other students. And so she said, "So tell me, does your mom work out of the home?" And the boy said, "No, ma'am, she takes care of us." "Oh, okay, and does your father work outside the home?" And he says, "Yes, ma'am." "Well, what does he do?" "He's a magician." She said, "Oh, a magician, what's his favorite trick?" So he likes sawing people in half. Says, "Wow, do you have any brothers and sisters?" I have a half brother and two half sisters." Yeah. So yes, it is Mother's Day, and we're looking at memories this month as to whether our memories are our warden or they're our liberator. And some memories, as we all know, build us up, and some basically keep us suppressed or tear us down. And it's important in this teaching to work with those memories rather than be worked by them. And so today, how do you use your memory? And when it comes to Mother's Day, this is a really good question. How many of you had magnificent, over-the-top, outstanding, don't answer this, moms? And how many of you didn't? Because we have memories of all of that, don't we? And we also know by now that the memories that we have about mom, good or bad, right or wrong, are determined by one very, very important factor. And that is that there are three truths. There's yours, mine, and the. And the truth is some combination of yours and mine and everybody else's, and the greater truth that some people don't even care about because their opinion is more important than what actually happened. Their opinion and experience is more important than anything that really was intended. It's just that way. Why? Because we're wired that way. So it's something we get to work with. So, a little bit of history about Happy Mother's Day. Julia Ward Howe, after writing the Battle Hymn of the Republic and walking the Civil War battlefields with her husband and Abraham Lincoln, was so distraught. She was a mother of 6. She was so distraught about the war that was now building in Europe, the Franco-American, or the Franco-Prussian War. And it just really disturbed her. So she called a General Congress of Women in Boston, and she wrote the Mother's Day Proclamation for Peace. I'm going to share it with you in a moment. After that, about the same time, as a matter of fact, Anna Jarvis organized a Mother's Friendship Day. And that she got all of the mothers of the deceased of the Civil War. They wore blue and they wore gray, and they came together and they held hands and they sang hymns together. It was after that, Anna Jarvis's daughter, who had the same name, in 1908, decided to hold and organize the first Mother's Day church service in West Virginia. And it was in 1914 that Woodrow Wilson took that, and he changed Anna Jarvis's intent, and he changed Julie Howe, her intent as well. Both of their intent was to focus on peace. Anna added another piece, and that was the unrecognized value that mothers have, and their job to teach peace in the home and in the world. That was the purpose of her celebration there, her Mother's Day. So Woodrow Wilson proclaimed Mother's Day as the second Sunday of May from then on, and it was set up more as, his original proclamation was filled with flowery language, and it focused on the mother's place in the home and in society. It dropped out altogether the inclusion of attending to world peace and supporting and fomenting world peace. So, Julia Ward Howe's Mother's Day Proclamation for Peace. Arise then, women of this day. Arise, all women who have hearts. Whether your baptism be that of water or of tears, say firmly, we will not have questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure others. We women of this one country, training to injure others, amazing, isn't it? And yet that's what men do. That's what we're trained to do. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence vindicate or indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council. Let them meet first as women, to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them then solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, each bearing after their own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God. In the name of womanhood and humanity, I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women, without limit of nationality, may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objectives, to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, and the great and general interests of peace. Now, bringing that idea back into Mother's Day celebration seems to me a really good idea. This does not diminish in any way the mother's role as it gets celebrated today with flowers and what have you, or going out to dinner, or serving them breakfast in bed. I think that's a great thing because we need to honor the mother. But let us not forget the original intent of this call for the mothers to attend to world peace. So the truth is a combination of your truth and your mom's truth, and I guarantee you that the truth is somewhere in between there. Now here's the message today. Lessons are learned in the classroom. We just graduated the foundations class yesterday, and there were a lot of lessons learned in that 13-week series, a lot. However, the message here today is that trials are the tests we give ourselves to see if we learn the lessons. Now that's hard to get sometimes. It looks like something is being done to us. It looks like, oh my God, my life just keeps spiraling down. And we oftentimes ask the wrong questions about what's going on. What if I could entertain whatever is going on in my life as an opportunity to give myself the opportunity to see if I have learned the lessons that I've been presented, that I've studied? Vernon Howard said, "A man's failure to question the ideas by which he lives keeps his life as it is." The questioning is really important. And Anthony J., the uncreative mind can spot wrong answers, but it takes a very creative mind to spot wrong questions. We need to ask the right questions. So instead of asking questions like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with this picture? What could go wrong? Or what if I fail? Instead of asking those questions, what if we take what we have learned and ask very different focused questions? What's the message in this for me? What's the gift in this? What can I learn from this experience, this opportunity, this event, from this person? And what's the most loving thing to do? Wouldn't it change our experience of life if we decided to ask these questions instead of the limiting ones? Yeah, I know our memories hold on to us, all those things that we have decided to help us survive. That's part of the wiring in our brains. It's literally designed that way because it encourages our survival. But what about beyond just simple survival? What about thrival? What about asking questions that nurture, empower, and support us? We have a spiritual community here, and people have stuff happen all the time. Anybody here never been deep in the deep, dark brown stuff? We all have been, haven't we? And so what's important is we take that fact of life and we bring it to our spiritual community where we get the support, the love, the guidance, the lesson to hold these events, these circumstances, these conditions in perspective. That we keep clear about what might really be going on. That it's an opportunity to expand and deepen in what I'm learning here. Instead of, oh my God, ain't it awful. Graves' Law, number 8. What I look from is what I get. What I look from factualizes as my life. We all know, it's been said again and again and again, if I look from being a victim, I experience being a victim again and again and again. If I look from being free in every regard, that I always live in choice, then I can look at any event, circumstance, condition, or person, and I can see the gift therein. I can choose to look at it differently because I'm looking from opportunity instead of from limitation. We fill in the blanks about these experiences and make up stuff about what something means, and then we live from that place. Remember, our definitions are our law. Our definitions lord over us. And then we live from that place of that particular definition. We live from that story, whether it's true or not. That might be a good question to ask. We live from, what we live from is a function of how we define ourselves, our life, others, the world, and our relationship with all of it. So therefore, we have an opportunity, people. Ernest Holmes wrote in The Science of Mind, almost invariably our negative reactions to life, our unhappiness, and perhaps most of our physical disorders are based on unhappy experiences that are buried alive in our memory. Yesterday can have no reality to us other than our reaction to it. So today is an opportunity, literally, that no matter how you have used your memory of any particular event, circumstance, or condition up to this point in time, you can always decide anew how to use that memory now and in the future, because as soon as we decide right now to use that memory differently, our experience of something similar in the future will have already changed. We'll stop instead of running down that negative road, that dismissive role, and we'll start looking at what the opportunity is. How can I incorporate what I now know? How can I use this to strengthen, uplift, and forward my evolution? Today, Mother's Day, is a beautiful day to choose anew. Let's do that, and let's do that together. Bless you. Let's pray together. So I remember the one life, the one mother of all life, the Creator itself that lives within and surrounds everyone and everything, that it lives within me, whole, perfect, complete in every regard. I breathe it, it beats my heart, I think with it. I could never escape it, no matter how hard I tried. And I know that every choice I make, conscious and unconscious, utilizes that full power, that full intelligence, and all of its infinite nature. So as each comes forward this morning and receives this treatment, this healing prayer, I know that liberation now floods in, and the choice is reaffirmed. So as each of these individual prayers continue, I know for each individual sitting in this room or standing in this room that the desire of that heart now builds in the experience of the individual. Because that power, that intelligence has no bounds. It surrounds all, and the wholeness thereof permeates everything. The infinite presence itself, that infinite intelligence, that power, unstoppable. And so that desire, that heart's desire, now comes into experience. And by continuing to choose it, consciously continuing to choose it, it becomes firmer in the individual's life. So I know for each that wholeness, that every cell of the body regains its original perfection. Every breath fulfills the divine breathing of spirit. And every act expresses in accord that desires full expression. So with joy filling me, which lets me know this is already done, the desire is satisfied, it's realized, I let these words go and step back into the flow. And in affirmation of this truth, together each says, and so it is.
I am so blessed.